The soft early summer sunlight fell across the Morrison family garden. Their traditional colonial-style house in Cambridge's upscale neighborhood was wrapped in Sunday afternoon's tranquility. Caroline Morrison glided her brand-new BMW 7 Series into her parents' driveway. She checked her appearance in the rear-view mirror. Her navy dress would surely make the perfect impression. One deep breath. Weekend dinners at this house always felt like a ceremony fraught with subtle tension. Aunt Caroline. Before she could step out of the car, her nephew Ryan and niece Sophia came running over. Their innocent smiles naturally softened Caroline's expression. "Well, if it isn't my precious angels. Such lovely smiles today." In the garden, her sister Taylor was taking photos on her smartphone, dressed in the latest Lululemon athleisure wear. Probably another shot for her Perfect Sunday series on Instagram. Still in that stuffy outfit? Taylor approached with light footsteps. "This is just a family gathering, you know? Why don't you try to relax a little?" Their mother Diana poked her head out from the entrance. "Oh, Caroline. I was wondering when you'd arrive." "Work again?" There was a subtle note of disapproval in those words. At 35, unmarried, and career-focused, in her parents' eyes, this wasn't exactly a life to be proud of. Entering the living room, she found Taylor's husband Brian reading the local paper. "Hey, Caroline. Another busy week, I take it?" "Well, yes. We've started a new project." "Oh, but you know," Taylor cut in, "I'm busy too. Sophia's ballet class, Ryan's soccer. Plus, I just became vice president of the PTA." "That's wonderful, Taylor," Mother smiled proudly. "I'm so blessed to have a daughter who takes such good care of her family." Caroline smiled silently. As vice president of the luxury real estate division, she earned over $400,000 annually and had just closed several million-dollar deals this month. But in this house, different values prevailed. Father Greg spoke up, "Come on everyone, let's sit at the table. The homemade roast beef will get cold." As the meal began, conversation turned to the usual topics, the children's school life and neighborhood gossip. Caroline quietly ate while checking her smartphone. There was a message from her fiancé James. "How's the family meeting going? Shall we make up for it with a nice dinner tomorrow night?" Caroline smiled secretly. Her life was about to change dramatically in the next month. But now wasn't the time. "Caroline," her mother's voice interrupted her thoughts. "Don't you think it's time to consider things besides work? Like an arranged marriage?" "Mom," Taylor interjected. "Sis is busy. After all, she's Boston's finest babysitter." Light laughter echoed around the dining table. Caroline returned the smile with practiced ease. No one yet knew about the major life change that was just around the corner. When the time came, everything would change. Taylor pulled out her smartphone and started taking family photos. "Everyone, smile." Caroline displayed a perfect smile while thinking about the small box containing an engagement ring waiting in her safe at home. The aroma of Thanksgiving filled the house. Turkey roast, pumpkin pie, cranberry sauce, traditional dishes covered the table. Outside the window, the first snow had begun to fall. Late November in Boston already carried heavy hints of winter. Caroline was helping Ryan with his math homework in front of the fireplace. "Aunt Caroline, you're so smart." "It's just experience. I used to struggle with it too." Taylor interrupted their conversation. "Ryan, go wash your hands." The table was more festive than usual. Caroline sensed there would be a special announcement. Taylor's beaming smile told the story. Brian sat beside his wife, clutching his wine glass with unusual tension. "Everyone," Taylor stood up and lightly raised her glass. "I have wonderful news." Brian took his wife's hand and smiled proudly. "Our family is going on a Caribbean cruise. It's on Royal Caribbean's newest ship. We'll spend 2 weeks touring the Bahamas, St. Martin, and Puerto Rico." Taylor's voice bounced with excitement. "We've already booked suite rooms." Caroline quietly carved her turkey. Only the slight movement of her fork betrayed her inner turmoil. No one was looking at her. "But you know," Taylor gave Caroline a meaningful look, "Sis is always too busy with work to join us, right? Would you mind watching our kids while we're gone? You're the perfect babysitter." A sudden silence fell. Greg's hand froze as he reached for his glass. Caroline wiped her mouth with her napkin and slowly raised her head. Under perfectly groomed eyebrows, only her eyes glinted coldly. "Oh, the plans are already set?" "Yes." Taylor pulled out her smartphone. "We discussed it in the family group chat. Mom and Dad were totally on board." A small pain shot through Caroline's chest. She wasn't in that group. On the smartphone screen, she could see the chat history filled with family smiles. "You can take care of my children, right? After all, you're single and have no plans." The parents watched silently. Greg cleared his throat. The sound of a fork hitting a plate echoed unusually loud. "Caroline, we did feel bad." "It's fine, Dad." Caroline wore a perfect smile. Her glossy lipstick glowed like a firefly. "Leave the children to me. It'll be a good experience for me too." No one understood the meaning behind those last words. Taylor sat back, satisfied. "I knew I could count on you, sis." "Hey, let's look at some Caribbean photos. There's even a tour where you can swim with dolphins." The family peered at the smartphone. No one noticed the look of determination in Caroline's eyes. As dinner ended and pumpkin pie was served for dessert, Taylor was already posting on Instagram. "Caroline," Diana called out. "Why don't you take some time off work? Being always busy with work isn't." "Thanks, Mom." Caroline gracefully set down her pie fork. "But I'm very fulfilled right now. Next year will surely be wonderful." After dinner, Caroline elegantly slipped into her car. While starting the engine, she took out her smartphone. "James, let's move up our plans." "What's wrong?" Concern mixed in her fiancé's voice. "I want to purchase that penthouse before Christmas." "That's sudden." But if it's your decision, I'll support you. I'll talk to the bank tomorrow. Yes, Caroline slowly pulled away. I'm preparing a little surprise. The streetlights of the upscale neighborhood reflected off her perfect makeup. Taylor's Instagram already displayed several posts. The caption, "This is the perfect family vacation," glowed on the screen. The next day, Caroline visited Martha Wilson's office. Martha had been her mentor in Boston's luxury real estate industry for over 20 years. "Martha, I heard there's an unlisted penthouse at the Sudbury." "Yes, but it's $45 million. Are you serious?" Martha raised her reading glasses and studied Caroline intently. "Yes," Caroline smiled gracefully. "I need it by Christmas. I'd prefer one facing Taylor's house." My goodness, Martha peered at her over her glasses. "What's this about?" "Just a family surprise," Caroline gazed out the window. "To reaffirm family values." That night, Caroline sipped champagne on her terrace while browsing Taylor's Facebook. The family's comments about the cruise kept flowing. "It's going to be the perfect vacation. Making family memories. Thank you, Taylor, for the wonderful plan." Caroline raised her glass in a toast to the night view. The city lights shimmered in her glass. Yes, it will surely be an unforgettable memory. Especially for Taylor. December in Boston was already dressed in Christmas attire. The giant Christmas tree at the Prudential Center warmly lit the evening city. "Aunt Caroline, that tree is so huge," Sophia exclaimed. Caroline smiled gently while adjusting her shopping bags. 1 week until the cruise vacation. Taylor's family was busy with preparations, and the children were already completely in Caroline's care. "I want to go to the Science Museum tomorrow," Ryan chimed in. "They have a dinosaur exhibit." Of course, Caroline held the children's hands. "But before that, Auntie has a request." In a cafe corner of the mall, Caroline faced the children. Steam rose from their hot chocolate. "Sophia, Ryan. I have an important secret." The children's eyes sparkled. "Actually, I bought a new house that's like a castle. But this is a secret until your mom and dad come back. Can you keep it?" Sophia's eyes lit up. "I'm good at keeping secrets. I can keep it too." Ryan puffed out his chest. Just then, they passed a man in a suit at the cafe entrance. "James." Caroline stood up. "Sophia, Ryan, this is someone very special to me. Call him Uncle James. He's a special friend who's going to help with our secret surprise." Caroline smiled meaningfully. The children quickly warmed up to James. Ryan was especially fascinated by James's Apple Watch. "There's one more important promise," Caroline lowered her voice. "Next week, we're having a Christmas party at the new house. There's also a wonderful pool there." "A pool?" The children's eyes sparkled. "But it's a secret from Mom and everyone else." "Because it's a surprise, right?" That night, Caroline was having final consultations at her new home in the Sudbury. Miss Morrison, the interior designer, spread out the blueprints. We'll place the Christmas tree here. It's a real 4-meter-tall fir tree. Perfect. Caroline sipped her wine while gazing out the window. Taylor's house lights could be seen small in the distance. Caroline added, "Could you make the infinity pool lighting especially bright in Taylor's house's direction?" The next day, a message arrived from Taylor. "Sis, send me photos of how the kids are doing." Caroline sent photos taken in her old apartment's living room. "They're being very good." In reality, at that moment, the children were enjoying water play with James in the infinity pool of the new home. "Aunt Caroline," Sophia called from poolside. "You can see the whole city from here." "Hey," Ryan tilted his head curiously. "Is that Mom's house over there?" "Yes," Caroline smiled contentedly. "You can see Mom's house clearly from here." When Martha came for a viewing, she couldn't help but exclaim at the sight. "My! The children have already settled in nicely." "Yes," Caroline answered gracefully. "Family bonds are important, aren't they?" On the weekend, the children were away at a school overnight event. Caroline was overseeing the final moving work. Miss Morrison, the butler, spoke discreetly. "The wine cellar installation is complete. It can store 500 bottles." "Wonderful." Caroline surveyed the penthouse. "Now we just wait for our stars." Her smartphone vibrated. A message from Taylor. "Sis, our fun cruise starts tomorrow. Please take care of the kids." Caroline replied, "Of course. I hope it becomes a wonderful memory." Outside the window, Boston's night view sparkled, as if anticipating the dramatic developments to come. Boston Logan International Airport. A cold January wind greeted the family as they exited the arrival lobby. "Ah, it really is cold," Taylor sighed while lifting her flashy sunglasses. "I miss the Caribbean." "I want to see the grandchildren soon." Diana checked her phone. No word from Caroline? Taylor scrolled through her screen. Come to think of it, she's been sending fewer photos these past 2 weeks. Just then, their pickup car's driver bowed deeply. "Are you the Morrison party?" Diana looked at Taylor's face. "Taylor, did you book such a luxury car?" "No." Taylor wore a confused expression. "This was arranged by Ms. Caroline Morrison," the driver answered politely. Silence fell. Taylor tried to smile, but it seemed somewhat unnatural. The luxury car glided through Boston's snowy streets. The parents were reminiscing about Caribbean cruise memories, and Brian was checking work emails. But something was off about Taylor. Taylor nudged her husband's arm. "This road." Brian looked up. "This area, that talked about luxury apartment." The car stopped in front of the Sudbury, Boston's most talked about high-rise. "Ms. Caroline instructed that we stop here first." Stepping into the luxurious lobby, the concierge bowed deeply. "Morrison family, we've been expecting you." Their expensive shoes echoed on the marble floor. Taylor still held her Bahamas souvenir bag. "Caroline." Diana called out. Her daughter stood gracefully in the elevator hall. Welcome back, Caroline smiled. She was dressed in a deep blue dress, more elegant than usual. The children are waiting upstairs. Upstairs. Taylor's voice trembled. The elevator quietly began its ascent and stopped at the penthouse floor. When the doors opened, the first thing they heard was the children's cheers. Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa. Sophia and Ryan came running. They were in swimsuits, their hair slightly wet. My goodness. Taylor gasped. Why swimsuits? That's when Taylor's view was filled with an infinity pool that seemed to merge with Boston's glittering evening skyline. This place is amazing, Sophia boasted proudly. It's Aunt Caroline's new castle. Castle? Taylor's voice cracked. Hey, Mom. Ryan pointed. You can see our house over there. It looks so tiny, right? In the luxurious living room, the 4-meter Christmas tree was still decorated. Chandelier light softly illuminated the expensive furniture. This is... Greg managed to speak. Caroline, surely not. Welcome to my new home. Caroline gracefully raised her glass. Actually, there's a little celebration too. Just then, the private elevator began moving again. The doors opened to reveal a man in a suit. Uncle James. The children ran over. The blood drained from Taylor's face. Everyone, Caroline stepped forward. Let me introduce you. This is my fiancé, James Hamilton, CEO of Silicon Valley's largest tech company. Fiancé. Taylor stumbled. Since when? Oh, yes, Caroline added as if just remembering. The wedding is next month. Of course, you'll all receive invitations. The children have been helping with secret preparations these past 2 weeks. We worked hard to keep the secret, Sophia declared proudly. You really did so well, Caroline patted the children's heads. As promised, you can play in the pool all you want today. Yay! The children ran back toward the pool. Taylor just stared at them, dumbfounded. Oh, Taylor, Caroline called out. Would you like me to show you the best spot to see your house? The view from the penthouse is really magnificent. Taylor nodded silently. She was desperately trying to hide her unsteady steps. Oh yes, Caroline stopped and looked straight into her sister's eyes. The babysitting job was very educational, especially about the importance of keeping secrets. Outside the window, Boston's streetlights shone like countless stars. Taylor's house's small light was just one among them. Would you like some champagne? Caroline offered a glass. It's Dom Perignon 2008. James recently found this gem. Just then, she noticed Diana was tearing up. Caroline. I'm sorry. Mom, Caroline gently held her mother's hand. Don't worry about the past. From now on, let's be a real family. As equal adults. By the pool, James had started playing in the water with the children. Their laughter warmly echoed through the luxurious space. Taylor's smartphone vibrated. Probably a social media notification. But now, no one tried to check the screen. The night view outside and the lights reflected in the pool quietly watched over the beginning of a new family story. The Sudbury penthouse. A Boston summer sunset was painting the infinity pool golden. "Happy birthday, Sophia." Amidst family voices, the girl celebrating her 9th birthday blew out the candles. Ryan hugged her from the side. Caroline watched the poolside party with satisfaction. 1 year into marriage. Life had turned out even happier than imagined. "Caroline," Taylor approached with a champagne glass. Her sister's expression was clearly different from a year ago. "Thank you for today's party." "Of course. It's my precious niece's birthday." The sisters silently watched the sunset sink into the pool. "Remember?" Taylor quietly began. "That Thanksgiving Day?" "Yes," Caroline smiled gently. "Without that, we might not be who we are today." Many things had changed since that day. Taylor had started attending night school to get her counseling certification. "I thought I should start by facing my own weaknesses." When she explained this, her sister silently embraced her. "You know," Taylor lowered her voice while watching the children play in the pool, "back then, I really lacked confidence about my choice to be a full-time mother. That's why I was so desperate." Caroline held her sister's hand. "Everyone has their own battles to fight. But you were different. You always had an unwavering core." "Do you think so?" Caroline gazed into the distance. "I took quite a few detours too. But they made me who I am today." By the pool, James was playing volleyball with the children. His stomach had started to show a little, and there was little trace left of the reserved Silicon Valley CEO. But his expression was genuinely happy. Their parents were relaxing on the terrace sofa. Diana had recently started cooking classes. "I want to make more things for my grandchildren." Her mother's eyes had become much softer than before. Greg was absorbed in his gardening hobby. The penthouse terrace garden was adorned with his loving creations. "Caroline," Sophia called out. "Can I open my present?" "Of course," Caroline answered with a smile. Inside the large box was a telescope. "Amazing." Sophia's eyes sparkled. "Can I see stars with this?" "Yes. From here, you should have the best view of the stars in Boston." Taylor showed a surprised expression. "But I didn't know Sophia was interested in telescopes." The other day at the Science Museum, she was completely fascinated by the star exhibit, Caroline explained. Taylor looked down apologetically. "I hadn't noticed that side of my children." Caroline put her arm around her sister's shoulders. "It's all right. From now on." The night deepened. The children were using their new telescope to search for stars shining in Boston's night sky. James and their father were engrossed in economic discussions with whiskey in hand, while their mother was dozing off on the sofa. Taylor called out in a small voice. Could you give me advice about the psychology classes starting next month? I'm nervous. Of course, Caroline answered immediately. But you'll be fine. You have the energy, as long as it's directed properly. Thank you. Taylor's eyes were moist. Suddenly, a smartphone notification sounded. It was a message from Martha. Caroline, preparations for next week's vice president promotion party are going well. Caroline smiled at the screen. Taylor, are you free next Saturday? No, why? I have a little surprise, Caroline winked. This time, it's the good kind. The starry sky reflected in the infinity pool quietly illuminated the story of the new family. Sometimes, it takes time to repair what's broken. But the new bonds found in the process might become stronger and deeper. Taylor's house lights could be seen small in the distance. But now, that distance felt comfortable. Hey, everyone, Caroline called out. Shall we start preparing dinner? The family began to gather. Unlike the former superficial gatherings that pretended to be perfect, this was the beginning of a warm time where everyone could bring their true selves. Under the starry sky, on the top floor of the Sudbury, a new family story was being quietly, but surely, woven together.